Hello everyone, it is Stephanie and it's Sunday, my favorite time of week. My favorite day of the week because I get to hear the sermon. So, Melinda, my bride, is out of town. Celebrating her anniversary with her husband. So I did church online and it was really good. So, the worship song of the day is gonna be I'm Not Alone by Kari Jobe. Let's see. Okay, so they're doing a new sermon series called The Road Less Traveled. And they were talking about the story of when Jesus, well, first of all, just Greg mentioned what happened just before Jesus left for Jerusalem. And it was when his disciples were fighting about who was going to be the greatest one, and that they were each really thinking of themselves, and even though they've been with Jesus all this time, 3 years, and yet they haven't gotten the thing with Jesus saying gotta love your God love your God more than yourselves. I forget that commandment. Guys, I was up scratching my book bites all night. But anyway, they were thinking about themselves. Love your God as yourselves and love your neighbors as yourselves. I think that's it. Anyways, sorry guys, but anyway, so they were focused on themselves. And that's what happened, right? Even though Jesus had been teaching them all that time, not to put themselves first. So anyway, that correlates because that is the last conversation they had before Jesus heads up to Jerusalem. They all go. So Greg mentioned the people that came up to speak to Jesus. And so there's a few. Hold on. Okay. Oh yes. So we should be putting there's this little circle that says God first, ourselves, and then others, then me. That's the way God's plan is. Are okay. So. Oh yeah. So that moment when Jesus was headed for Jerusalem, that's when he knew he was going to be dying. And those few people came up to ask, I want to follow you. And so there's a question that Greg asks after each of this guy's stories, but am I willingly embracing uncertainty? That's the big thing with the sermon this weekend. And Greg mentioned that he doesn't, he trusts God, but doesn't want to embrace uncertainty. But what we really need to be doing is trusting God and embracing uncertainty. Yes, and which or whose kingdom are we elevating? Okay, so the questions, that was one of them. What is my, but first, one of the stories of the guy that wanted to follow Jesus, and he said, I can do it, but first, I think a lot of us have that feeling too. Okay, I'll follow you, God, gotta do this first, or whatever. So that's not the right way to come to him. Am I willing to eliminate my excuses? So that's another big one. It's I think all of us have made excuses, not to follow God or, choose disobedience and that. So those are things we can think about. The good answers are, yes, put God first, others then ourselves last, and that should, if we're doing that, we should definitely be able to be on the road less traveled, because it's not an easy road, but it's the one that Jesus is calling us to. So I think that's all of the notes. Okay. And let's see. The poem of the day, The Joy of Unselfish Giving. Time is not measured by the years that you live, but by the deeds that you do and the joy that you give. And each day as it comes, let's move this so in case the screen goes black, I can make sure it doesn't stop the video. Okay. To love to the fullest, leaving nothing undone, that would brighten the life or lighten the load of some weary traveler lost on life's road. So what does it matter how long you may live, if as long as we live, we unselfishly give? Ooh, that goes right along with the sermon. Okay, before I forget, I'm going to put this sticky note on the next poem so I don't accidentally read the same one twice like I did that one day. Okay, now time for your love heals. And remember, we're in chapter 11 now? 10? I forgot. 12, right. Love heals over the bridge of time. Okay, and we had just read the poem, and I'm just going to read this first page. Healing takes time. Since we can't control time, the best we can do is create a safe environment where healing can be explored. Creating that environment as an ongoing endeavor that takes a persistent faith. The Gospels tell us the beautiful story of the persistent widow in Luke's parable. The woman has to plead with a judge who doesn't fear God or even care about justice. But because a widow bothers him day and night with her pleas, he grants her justice. Jesus said to the disciples, "Will not God bring about justice for his chosen ones who cry out to him day and night?" We are called to be persistent in our pursuit of healing, yet there is a point where there is in exercise, recovery, and parenting where we hit plateaus. We aren't seeing the most important improvement or change, and so we want to give up. But time and persistence keep working. As we can't see in the Bible change, we have to trust that healing is happening and keep practicing what we want or what we know we are supposed to do. Then healing will unfold in new and unimagined ways. We will be so grateful we won't give up. My sister Sandy, who is a doctor, got her first degree in occupational therapy. She went on a teaching mission to Cameroon in Africa, and while she was teaching, she was in horrible bus crash in which 5 people died. After being medically evacuated to Switzerland and undergoing several surgeries, she ended up using her pinky finger and losing her pinky finger and a small part of her hand. Okay, just making sure it's still recording. You guys have been really quiet over there. Okay, right, that is, you guys are all caught up, so I will pray. Lord, thank you for this sermon today, and I just thank you for my subscribers, and I ask that as they watch this, they would just be filled up with the knowledge of your love for them, hope, Jesus, and peace. Amen. Okay, you guys are all caught up. I will talk when I have more to say. Have a blessed day.